So let's set our blocks a little bit wider apart now. We're going to go into the youth posture. So take time to position your blocks, and you can play with what feels right for you, but you want a nice wide stance like this. Okay, let's start with just pressing the elbows against the knees to open up this pelvic floor. And you can do a little gentle rocking, right, left. And you can rest your eye ridge in your thumbs here. And see if you can really rest that ridge on the thumb so you can release a little bit of the tension in the back of the head and the occiput where it meets the neck. Maybe you can sense into some pulling or imbalance there on one side or another, and you might press in with one thumb or another to kind of counteract whatever you're finding there. And just feel also how this points energy upward towards the third eye. So we're directing energy in this triangle pointing upward. And as we press down into the earthy base, we're tuning everything upward. And allow your neck, head to adjust however it wants to. Many micro motions and adjustments that can happen here. Okay. Now I want to do a few variations on this, and if you need to take a break, you can stand up for a second, but I'm doing okay here right now. So one is we can stretch down to stretch the vertebrae, and particularly the thoracic vertebrae. Dr. Stone calls them the dorsal vertebrae, which is an older term. But so you can just interlace your hands around the back of your head, give a little stretch. So if you're more up on the top of your head, it's going to stretch the upper vertebrae. And if you're more down by the neck, it's going to stretch, it's going to go lower on the vertebrae. So play with that first. Just maybe start at the top of the head and feel how this stretches, particularly like the cervical and the upper thoracic vertebrae. Just a really gentle elongation and stretching of the spine and the dural tube, which is that tube of connective tissue that lines the spinal cord. Just feel that gentle elongation on the spine. And then play with going a little lower, really getting into more of the mid back here. And you could add a little grunt in here, a little Okay, let's stand up on that one. And then you can do my back just naturally cracked. Now, if you have a pole or something, a surface you can stretch on, this can also help open up and crack the vertebrae if there's any releases that want to happen. Okay. I mean, ideally, you'd be hanging off of this. This is mantle is not high enough for me to do that, but so you just feel that can open up, and it's like getting a chiropractic adjustment. Okay. So take a moment and breathe here. Feel the effects of that. Okay, let's go back into the youth posture, and we're going to do a couple more variations here. Okay, so back in the youth posture, right? And now we can do one that's basically a side stretch of the head. So gentle stretch to one side. And, I can feel this resistance here in the neck muscle. So just play with that. Feel into where it's holding and be gentle with it. inviting it to release. When you find something held or stuck, whether you're working on yourself like this or working with your clients, just pause and breathe and see if stillness and giving some room there, some space and time and attention, if that pattern doesn't just let go on its own without force. And you can play with the angle, so you can play pulling back a little bit more, coming forward a little more, like what's going to help open and stretch this side neck and throat. You can feel your shoulder dropping a little bit, pulling down, counteracting. This will also impact the sacrum. So there's a connection between the pelvis and the head, and the occiput, the bone in the back of the head, and the sacrum. So feel the elongation, stretching. Okay. And particularly, I want you to notice when you're stretching to the right side that it actually the stretch actually goes through the connective tissue and hits the heart. So you can target actually bringing energy and stretching energy around the heart here. You might play with being a little more upright. And see if you can get into where the side of the neck and the connective tissue connects all the way down into the heart. You also can stretch the throat a little bit more here. And now let's do the other side if you haven't already. So this is going to stretch the liver on the right. Same thing though, this is great for people who have neck tension, headaches. You can play with diagonal angles, opening up this connection of the head and neck, and feeling how it also impacts the sacrum and the pelvis, the rest of the body. Okay.